Hello everyone and welcome to today's webinar, Be a Customer Service Superstar. My name is Emilia Johannesson and I will be your moderator today. I work on the marketing team here at the Fujitsu ServiceNow practice and I'm excited to be hosting this session today. In this webinar, we will show you how to increase customer satisfaction, boost efficiency, and improve products and services with customer service management in ServiceNow. I am pleased to introduce today's speakers, which will be Hannes Hirvikalio, Sales Director in Fujitsu, and Chris Falk, Advisory Solution Consultant, Customer Service Management in ServiceNow. Before I hand the mic over to Hannes, I have a few practicalities I would like to cover. The webinar is scheduled to last for 1 hour with a Q&A session in the end. You will all be muted throughout the webinar to avoid any interruptions. If you want to ask questions, please submit these by using the section called Questions in the menu on your right side of the screen. We will do as many questions as possible within the time frame in the end. If your question is not answered, we will contact you with the answer after the webinar has ended. Within the next days, you will receive an email with the slides and a recording of this presentation. Please enjoy the session as I hand over the mic to Hannes, who will kick things off. Hannes, over to you.
Thank you, Emily, and a very good warm morning to everybody here in the webinar this fine, beautiful morning. This webinar is going to have 3 parts in it. I'm going to do a general presentation first about the Fujitsu and our ServiceNow capabilities. Then going to hand over to Chris, who will detail the solution of ServiceNow around customer service management. And to end with, we are going to have a look at one of our most recent customer cases, a company in Finland called Bassware, and their journey to becoming a customer service superstar company. With that being said, I'll just jump to the topic. So a few words prior to letting Chris speak around Fujitsu and ServiceNow. So Fujitsu has been in the ServiceNow business for the past 9 years. We are currently at the gold service and gold sales levels, which is the top tier level of the ServiceNow partner program. And we're covering the whole of Europe when it comes to our practice. Currently, we have over $2 billion worth of business supported within our ServiceNow solutions. So that's also calculating the stuff we use on ServiceNow for our internal use, but also the things that we will sell or resell or implement to our customers within the European framework or area. Currently, we have around 8,000 service desk agents. We do business in ServiceNow with 2,700 different service desk customers, and we have a huge number of end user contacts, over 30 million globally within a year. So ServiceNow to us is, of course, something that we implement. We realize the vision of our customers, but we also heavily use it ourselves. And then we rely on the power of ServiceNow to run our services. We have, within our existence, we've delivered over 800 ServiceNow projects across Europe. And when I say projects, these are normally initial implementation and then further on for enhancement projects. So not just the first-hand deliveries, but projects that come after the first-hand delivery. But nevertheless, a substantial amount of different projects around different areas of the ServiceNow platform, of which today we are talking about the customer service management part. And last but not least, 2 years ago, Symphony ESM was purchased by Fujitsu. We basically doubled the capacity of the Fujitsu ServiceNow practice, and we've grown it ever since after that acquisition. So we are currently the fastest growing ServiceNow partner in EMEA with over 400 people working in the practice. Very few words on our offering. We call it a full life cycle offering. If you've been to our webinars before, you've probably seen this slide. But we can help our customers all the way from when the need arises to do something in business consulting. So how do we link up the strategy of your business towards an IT change project within ServiceNow? So we have a dedicated team of business consultants who help our customers link the strategies, the business strategies of our companies or customers to the actual implementation of the solution. We are a certified reseller and implementation partner. As I said, 800 implementations, 800 projects, trained and certified salespeople, trained and certified consultants working within the customers. Design and development services for situations when ServiceNow is not enough. So we have a lot of third-party add-on products, integration plugins, different software solutions that supplement ServiceNow. So if it arises that ServiceNow is not enough for that particular need, we have a plethora of solutions that we can actually offer to complement the functionality of ServiceNow. Fujitsu ServiceNow products, yeah, as said, we use ServiceNow ourselves. We have built several products on top of the ServiceNow platform that we currently use ourselves, for example, in professional services automation around Symphony V product. And these are all found in the ServiceNow store or app store that you can just go and browse through and have a look if you're interested in our ServiceNow products. We have a global delivery model which relies on global delivery centers. The nearest one in Europe is in Poland, but also GDCs in Lisbon, in Kazan, Russia, and of course in India. So we can offer a blend of on-site resources, normally more senior customer-facing people, and then have the actual delivery or the configuration done by low-cost countries. We also do authorized training for ServiceNow. Every single course that you see on the ServiceNow webpage as publicly listed, we can do the same course, and we can actually ship in a trainer to your premises, so we can do it more flexibly, suiting your different schedules and time needs. And last but not least, we are an authorized support partner. So whatever we do within the ServiceNow projects to you, we will support that, and we will make sure that the things that we deliver actually work. And one final note before letting Chris speak is a bit of the strategy view or the business process view. What I just said around helping customers getting from the vision to strategy and boiling it all the way down to an adopted in production tool. So we have several different stages where we help our customers, whether it's in strategic benefits identification, project definition, and running the project as an agile rate, or whether it's change resistance planning, engagement communications, actual business process optimization, or helping to adopt, helping to reach the message of ServiceNow to as broad as an audience as possible within your respective companies. So without further ado, that was the last of the introductory slide. And now back to Chris.
Great, thanks for that, Hannes. So as mentioned earlier, my name is Chris Fock. I'm an advisory solution consultant with ServiceNow within the customer service management practice. As you might be able to tell from my accent, I'm actually Australian, but I'm covering the Nordics, so that's just something a little bit different. But anyway, today I'll be talking to you about customer service management within ServiceNow, how we see things, as well as a very brief click-through demo, which will give you a taste of what it looks like. So to start off, basically, I'll just pose a question of why does customer service matter? Well, basically, customer service is key to business success. Great customer service does lead to more loyal customers, and more loyal customers will buy more and do more services with you. Not only that, in the day and age of social media being such a big thing, the way that you present your customer service to people will also determine how they recommend or talk about you in their social spaces. So if they have a positive experience, they'll talk well of you. On the flip side, if they have a bad experience, they will quite possibly drag your name through the mud. So it's no longer a case of just doing it to keep them as a customer. It's also making sure that your name and your brand stays positive as well. So due to this, customer service and the overall customer experience are a huge priority for most organizations, just because of the way it can positively or negatively influence the bottom line. And what's been found through a McKinsey quote here is that companies with a higher customer satisfaction drive more revenue and are more profitable. So a customer satisfaction increase of about 10 percentage points can lead to a revenue increase of 2 to 3%. So for companies these days, good customer service is key in staying competitive and afloat in the market. So just to give you an example of one of the customers that we've dealt with, this is kind of one of our marquee customers in the customer service space, is Epicor. So Epicor is an ERP software company that has about 20,000 customers worldwide. Originally, they relied on over 15 CRM-based support systems and over 50 customer portals to provide support to their customers, the 20,000 customers, sorry. This complexity led to a poor and inconsistent customer service experience, long lead times for resolution, the inability for them to kind of obtain and get a consolidated picture of their operations and the costs associated with it. And because of this, their customer service was suffering. As about 50% of their revenue was derived from software support and maintenance fees, they simply had to improve to stay competitive. So Epicor invested in ServiceNow CSM as a foundation of the platform they call Epicare, which was a single global customer platform which powered the delivery of services to all their customers and partners worldwide. And after doing this, what they found was after about a 10% implementation, 10-month implementation period, after some time, they found about a 10% increase in their NPS score, a projected revenue increase of 3%. And as you can see here, they managed to consolidate a large number of systems and portals into ServiceNow. So overall, they reduced their complexity and also increased their bottom line, which was a really good result for them. But moving on, the way that the research has shown and a number of interviews have shown is that top customer frustrations are fueled by three main problems, and I think we'll all be able to relate to these in some way. The first one is the silos within departments, which hinders the resolution of requests or issues. So, those times when you've contacted a customer service organization and there's been a email ping pong and phone calls to different departments who aren't connected with each other, the experience that results for you is just frustration. If I speak to someone within a company and they pass me on to one of their colleagues, I shouldn't have to re-explain the whole story to them again. I shouldn't have to wait a number of days before I speak to someone separately or someone differently and then have to start from the beginning once again. So this is seen as one of the big three problems affecting about 19% of people who needed to contact a customer service organization 7 or more times. The next one is customer needs not being addressed. And this is basically, once everything's said and done, the outcome of the resolution is not what you're expecting. So customers weren't satisfied with their results, and the interviews that were done show that only about 17% of people were. And last but not least, and this is the one that I kind of hold closest to my heart, is that customers can't help themselves. So in this day and age, we shouldn't need to have to kind of pick up a phone and have to speak to someone in order to get something solved. We should be able to do that ourselves if it's something not too difficult or something which can be easily done without the intervention of a third party. And the more and more that you get into the consumer world, the more and more you realize that this is kind of what we're used to in this day and age. So to just give a little anecdote around that, the old way for a taxi company, for example, was that, you needed to call up an operator, wait on the line with some very nice music, and then wait to speak to someone, and then book a taxi, let them know where you were, what time you wanted to be picked up, and all those things. So, if you're in the streets of Berlin after a few drinks, that might become quite difficult, trying to pronounce the name of that street and schedule a time to go to a destination that you can't pronounce either. Nowadays, people use Uber, where they load up their app, they find their location is pinpointed by their phone, they put a request in, and it's done. All the payment is done afterwards, and it's just a smooth process. So the consumer world in that sense is really leading the way. And what we need to kind of understand is that companies need to start having that same experience with their customers as well. Okay, so onto the ServiceNow part. The way that we see it is that there is a better way. And the way that we say it at the moment is delight customers with proactive service from issue to resolution. So it's the whole end-to-end flow of things. Now, the first part here is resolving the complex issues end-to-end. And this is really about having your organization be connected with each other. So, we offer the functionality and capabilities to make sure that all of your teams and your departments can work as a single team. You don't need to have different silos. We're using different systems and things like that. We have things like visual task boards and workflows which allow this kind of thing to happen. And ultimately what it leads to is your organization working as a single entity without having disparate systems around the place. The next thing is around intelligently fixing problems before customers know they have them. And to summarize this is about being proactive. Okay, so instead of waiting for your customers to report an issue to you and then fixing it, it's about knowing what kind of services you're delivering and monitoring them, so that if something does happen or something is projected to happen, you're able to take the actions before an impact is seen and felt by the customers. All right. And we have a number, we're very, very strong in this area where we have our, for example, IT operations management in the more technical space, where you can monitor your infrastructure and then link it to remediation actions and other actions which ServiceNow can take on your behalf. All right. And lastly, it's about driving actions to instantly take care of common requests. And this is, in another term, making it effortless for your customers. So they should be able to get onto a self-service portal of some sort, look through a service catalog, pick out what they need and add it to a basket in an Amazon-like fashion. They should be able to chat to people or an automated bot or something like that to have common requests undertaken for them and not need to have to get onto the phone to speak to someone. Okay, so this is the kind of the three ways that we see it, that we can help, ServiceNow can help with your customer service organization. So onto the demo now. So what I'll mention here is that this demo is based on a real instance. It's just that I've ported it over to a presentation for the sake of keeping things on track and not having to click around too much. And this will give you an idea of what it's a kind of typical experience for a customer who might be reporting an issue and the agent who might be dealing with that. Okay, so first of all, I'll just paint a scenario for you. I'll be dealing with two personas here. The first one is Julie. Julie is an employee at Boxio, who is a B2B customer of Acme Corporation. All right. Boxio uses a range of Acme business solutions, and in this case here, we can say that Julie runs a small office of some sort. On the other side of the fence is John, who is the Acme customer service manager. He is responsible for a number of accounts, including Boxio. Now, what I'll do first of all is just quickly take you through the scenario so you understand where I'm going with it. In this case, Julie will need help with an issue that she and her team are experiencing with a customer performance analytics system, which is supplied by Acme. So the first thing she's going to do is log onto the portal and have a look for an answer to the question herself. When she's unable to do that, she'll end up creating a case. John will pick up the case and it will be resolved, and hopefully she'll be satisfied by the end of it. Now, to start off, just one more note. The flow that I'm taking you here is a bit of a long-winded one, but it's simply just to show you some of the different features and put it all together in a story here. So the first thing that Julie does is she logs onto a service portal and she quickly types in a bit about what kind of issue she's having. Now, what happens here is that we have a type ahead search. ServiceNow will look through all the different records, knowledge base articles, things like that, which are available to Julie based on her profile, and show her a number of things. So as you saw there, she clicked on one of the knowledge articles at the top. What happens then is that Julie gets redirected to the knowledge article on the service portal. She can see here some details about what she could do for herself. There's also a number of widgets around here which might have some related articles for us, some other top-rated articles, the most viewed articles, for example. Whatever you'd want to have there. What's worth noting is that all these widgets here can be modified within the portal. It is something that you can decide the look and feel of in that sense. All right. So in this sense here, Julie has a look through. What she's also able to do is provide some feedback as to whether this was helpful or not. And this is great for a customer service organization because it means you're not just putting out information one way. You're also taking into account what kind of feedback your customers have, which lets you improve the quality of your knowledge articles, which then should in turn increase the deflection rate of cases logged because customers can continue to serve themselves. Additionally, Julie is able to add any sort of comments she might have about this, which can be public or internal facing only to your organization, and she can also rate the article. All of this information will also help you kind of determine how effective your articles are and start ranking them based on these kinds of things. All right. In this case here, though, let's say that Julie didn't find the answer that she needed. So the next thing she's going to do is she's going to ask the community. All right. So she goes onto the community here, and the community is kind of is basically a forum for your organization, your customer support organization. As you can see here, I'll go into it in a little bit more details, but as you can see here, there's a number of questions posed. We have a leaderboard, which is based on the concept of gamification, as well as different topics and forums within there. Now, in terms of the leaderboard part, I'll just quickly touch on this because I do find this a very, very interesting one. The leaderboard is a way of showing who's contributing the most based on a gamification system. So for answering a question, you might get 20 points. For asking a question, you might get 5 points. For answering a question correctly, you might get 100 points. And the reason why you do this is that it starts to get people a bit more competitive and into the spirit of interacting with the system a bit more. And what we've found is that this is incredibly helpful. Using the ServiceNow forum as an example here, we have a huge number of contributors around the world who answer and ask a lot of questions on this forum. And what actually happens is that a lot of third parties who aren't ServiceNow, a lot of people within the community themselves will help other people in answering their questions. And this is great. This is great for ServiceNow because we can then spare the resources for doing that ourselves. And it's also great for people as customers. They can go into this community, have a look for a question, and a lot of the time it's already been answered. For me, as a ServiceNow employee, if I have a question, the first thing I usually do is go to the community and look for an answer. And 9 times out of 10, it's there. This is great. If you think about how much work this could potentially be saving you, if you're the right kind of organization that can leverage this kind of community thing. Okay, but anyway, I'll move on a little bit more now. In this case here, Julie is going to search the community for the same kind of issue that she had before to see what kind of discussions have been around there. When she types into here, once again, we have the type ahead search. She can see what kind of things have been asked before, and she notices that she hasn't got what she needs. So she's going to ask the community herself. When she goes into here, she's able to ask a question, the question title, what forum it goes into, any topics or tags that need to go into it, and of course, the description. Once she's done that, the question gets posed, and depending on what kind of notification rules people within the community have, they might receive a notification, or maybe people are just on the community checking up on what's going on. In this case here, one of Julie's community colleagues, a guy named Ronald, notices what she's mentioning, and he posts a response to her. Okay. From Julie's point of view, she's then able to mark this as helpful, which then marks it up in the rankings. She can give a response, and all of the actions taken by her and Ronald lead to gamification points if you so want it. Okay. In this case here, Julie will say this is a correct answer, so she can mark it as correct, and it gets pushed to the top as an accepted solution. Okay. Later on, for the Acme Corporation, the customer service organization here, they can actually go through the community and harvest any knowledge from accepted solutions as well. So instead of just leaving it in the community, they're also able to transfer that into knowledge base articles and keep using that. Now moving on, once again, let's assume that Julie didn't get the answer that she needed completely. So the next thing she's going to do is use the chatbot. So what we have here is a virtual agent. And this is basically an automated chat function which sits between the customer and the customer service organization. As you can see there, at any given time, you can speak to a human being if you want to. But basically, this allows you to automate and automatically have done a number of basic things or common requests here. Instead of having a human being needing to do all of this, a chatbot can do it for you. In this case here, this is just simply guiding Julie through the process of logging a ticket by searching the knowledge base and then logging a ticket into there. You can build into here whatever you want to. You can have some common questions which might be asked if she wants to log a issue. Based on the answers she gives, it can be dynamic in terms of what other questions follow on from that. And then what the output of that is that the chatbot has taken all the relevant information before it's being passed on to a human being. Now, this is fantastic because even if it saves 10% of someone's time, if you have a large customer service organization and each one of their agents is saving about 10% of the time, not needing to go back and forth with the emails of asking questions that they need answers to, and the chatbot does it, that's going to lead to a huge saving there. Okay, so as I was talking there, it just ran a little script in the background there, and what ultimately has happened is that Julie has logged that ticket now. So I'll just move forward a little bit quicker because I'm conscious of time. But now we've switched over to John Jason, who is the customer service manager. First thing he's going to do is log into his dashboard that he uses every day. He's able to have a look at what kind of cases have come through, and drill down into different parameters around that. But what he's most concerned about is the unassigned cases for Boxio, which is one of his customers. So he clicks on that and he finds the case that Julie's just logged, and he goes into the agent workspace here. Now, the agent workspace is one of our new capabilities, which was released in limited release within London. It will be coming out in general availability in Madrid in the first quarter of this year. And this is basically a new look and feel UI that we provide to agents. The idea of it is to have all of the information and relevant data needed by an agent all in the one place to reduce the number of clicks and different systems needed. So as you can see here, he's got John has got information about who Julie is, what company she's from, the case details, as well as the timeline and SLA in there. There's some different tabs here. There's a detailed SLA tab where John can actually have a look at what SLAs are applied to it and what how much elapsed time there is. He's able to look at emails and other interactions which might have gone in and out from the system and Julie, as well as any special handling notes which might need to be added due to this. So he can see here that Julie is a VIP account. Now, the next thing he's going to do is have a look at the case. One of the great things about this is that we have the agent assist here in the right-hand corner, which does a contextual search of what has been written in there and provides recommendations to John as to knowledge articles, other cases, community posts, and things like that. As we move forward with ServiceNow, it's likely that we'll be using a lot more machine learning and AI in this area. But right now, what I've done here is just a contextual search based on the information provided. So John here can see that there's an article that's been recommended to him. He's able to click on that and have a look through it. He can mark it as helpful, which then will add it to the case, as well as update the metrics and the analytics around knowledge management to help track the performance of this. And he's also able to put in an update for Julie here. So when he does that, Julie, who is on the other side of this, might receive a notification on her phone saying that a case has been updated. She decides then to log back into her portal where she can see a timeline of what John has done, all the information there. She's also able to interact with John. So John has given her some information and she's able to say, yep, look, whatever you've done, it seems to have fixed it. Thank you very much. So that happens. John on the other side notices that this has been resolved and he marks it as resolved. What then happens is that the case is marked as resolved and Julie has the option of accepting or rejecting the case. If she rejects the case will remain open and it will continue to be worked on by John and his team. If she accepts the case, well, then the case is automatically closed by the system and any sort of notes are put into there. So in this case here, after she accepts it, she's presented with a customer satisfaction survey. And this is a way that the customer service organization can start tracking what kind of feedback they're getting from their customers. Now, this can be more complex than this. You can ask many questions if you like, or it can be even more simple. It could just be one simple question. On a scale of 1 to 5, how happy were you with your service? It's completely up to you and what you want to track here. But in this case, Julie gives a number of recommendations, some feedback and some comments to John as well. So she walks away quite happy. So hopefully I've kind of given you an idea of most of these areas within the presentation. This is just a quick overview of kind of all the capabilities that we have in each of those three kind of points, the resolving issues end to end, being proactive and driving action with self-service. All of this information is also available on our website if you want to get some further detailed customer data sheets or anything like that. Or you can of course reach out to us for any information around this, and we'd be happy to discuss this with you. And with that, I'm now done. So Hannes, I will hand back to you.
Thank you, Chris. You were spot on. Thank you. Very, very nice demo. Thank you very much. Let's now for the final part. If I have control here. Yeah. Let's now jump into the shoes of a customer who has actually implemented what Chris a minute ago presented. So I'm today talking about a customer in Finland called Bassware by using Matthias Lippert's presentation. And Matthias is the Vice President of Customer Services in Bassware. Those of you who might have visited the Now Forum events late last year, you might have seen Matthias present a similar kind of case. But nevertheless, let's jump into it. A few words of Bassware before we start. So Bassware is in the business of helping their customers to simplify operations and spending smarter by automating procurement and finance processes. So they are in the business of purchase to pay, number one in their respective area in automation, number three in top three procurement, a market leader with the cloud-based purchase to pay solutions. Bassware is supporting customers in over 100 countries, so they have a follow the sun approach when it comes to customer service. When it comes to the company size, they are roughly 150 million euros in 2017, with 2,500 large customers and over 1 million smaller customers connected to their networks. And they're publicly listed in this Helsinki Stock Exchange. Bassware support, it's good to have those figures here as well. So they are operating globally as a follow the sun operations. And in the support organization or customer service organization, they have 220 professionals. They do 8 languages and have 2 support hubs, one in Europe, one in Asia. They're currently serving all Bassware solutions and services with standard and custom SLAs, and providing support via multi-channel elements, so chat, voice, email, etc., and providing the customer service management function of Bassware globally. Before we go into the actual technical heavy lifting or the technical implementation or the story around that one, it's good to paint a small perspective on what has happened to Bassware's customer service within the past 3, 4, 5 years. So it hasn't only been a technological change for Bassware. Bassware has grown as a company by purchasing other smaller companies. So they've had new solutions to offer, new solutions to support, but also seen change in their business with moving to cloud. So traditionally providing an on-premise solution, moving more and more to the cloud and seeing the future in the cloud. And that has caused some changes to be done on the customer service side as well. So if you see, starting from August 2015 to February 2016, what are the changes within the organization of customer care, going from separate silos to a joint customer care, and now actually providing multi-channel support in February of 2016 with first line, second line, and third line behind the online services. So it's not just a technological change for Bassware, it has also been a cultural and an organizational change. But let's go through the story within the 20 minutes that we still have. So the first phase is what Bassware calls going through the pain. And this was at the time of summer 2016. Studies and customer surveys that they sent out and the SLAs that they looked at were showing pretty devastating results. So in the bottom you see that the response SLA achievement was between 75 and 94, target being 95. Resolution SLA between 86 and 91, and target being a bit higher than that. And the NPS was between 13 and 24, with the target being 35. So all of the KPIs or the SLAs around time and customer satisfaction were not met. Same topic from another side. So asking the customer that what do you see was the issue there is strongly suggesting that the timely and professional support, as in the survey conducted in August 2016, was one of the key factors causing pain for Bassware's customer, is that they did not receive professional support services within a timely manner. So that was something that was recognized. It was measured from an SLA or an NPS perspective, but also voiced in the customer surveys or touchpoint analysis that the support function was something that needed to be investigated and invested in. If you look at the KPI scorecard or targets for 2016, 80% of the KPI targets were on red. So they were failing in KPIs across the board. So something needed to be done in order to raise the level of customer service within Bassware. Phase 2. A lot of organizations go to these kind of rehearsals thinking that the customer needs to be there first. But Bassware actually changed the term around a bit and put employees first. And the reasoning or why they did that is twofold. So once talking to the customers, they got an understanding that SLA does not really matter. Customers understand that if it's a complex, it will take longer. Therefore, I am getting my answer at a later stage. But if the customer perceives it to be a simple case, they actually want the answer pretty fast. They don't allow or they don't want to wait a long time for a simple answer. That was premise number one. Second premise was focus on the volume of complexity. So kind of the same topic, speed matters. Try to do as much of the cases as you can in the first hours of the ticket in order to provide answers, even though they might not be correct at the first go. Just do it fast, do it now. One of the elements used was whitelisting of tickets, so kind of ready-made answers or set answers to different questions and topics, and just focusing on the speed of things when it comes to customer service. Phase 3, which was then launched in March 2017, was around the plan. So we've heard now that the issues were around support. So customers were perceiving the support to be of low quality. We did the first, or Bassware did the first line fixes of focusing on speed, getting the answers to the customers, and then they needed to look at the bigger picture, take a step back and fix the basics. So they sat down, created different KPIs, different measurements in order to fix the basics and start providing world-class support. And those KPIs were basically divided into quality, into people, into preventive numbers, and into value KPIs, or value initiatives. One key aspect that Bassware found out is that support doesn't need to be silent in the organization. Actually, it makes more sense that support is there promoting what they do in the customer first line in different local country kickoffs or events. So putting support on center stage, making the organization aware that support actually matters and support is providing a valuable service, and they're actually the first line within the customer when something goes wrong. So it has a huge impact in what the customer perceives the service to be. So phase 4, after all of these organizational changes, emphasizing the support, changing the organization, making sure the big plan exists, and doing the KPIs, this is the results that Bassware found out. So global response SLA starting from 93%, going all the way up to 96 in June, and then October all the way to 97.6%. So well above their targets, which were presented a couple of slides back. Same thing on the resolution SLA, starting in January for 87.5%, and then going all the way up to 92 in August, and then in October the same levels, 95.5. NPS, which is the Net Promoter Score, and then the number of customer satisfaction, basically. So starting from a very low figure of 16, going all the way to 58, and then basically sustaining that from there on. And actually, the newest figures are still above of those figures as we speak. So that was the procedural change, the organizational change, and the results from that. And all looks good and dandy, right? But during these projects, it became apparent that some of the technology stack that Bassware was using to provide customer service was definitely an old technology. So in that time frame, the support tools that the customer service organization was using was 5 to 6 different tools. So 70% of it was BMC Remedy, 18% was a self-developed ticket solution called Gateway. Then there was Sharewell there, Salesforce.com, and some other proprietary technologies as well. Reporting and monitoring with View. There was no online module for customer. It was just email and basic contact form. Knowledge bases were separate, so there was an internal one and an external one. Chat was only for selected solutions. There was no integration to the actual ticket flow. And the support satisfaction survey was a separate tool as well. So the whole of this technology platform that was providing the support technicians with their tools ended up in them using several or multiple tools in order to fulfill the customer certifications. So what Bassware did is that they launched a renewal project, which was launched in August. It was put on hold November with a severe budget overrunning. There was resourcing issues, process alignment issues, and performance issues. They tried to restart it a couple of times, and in May 2017, what Bassware themselves called a dead horse, they finally made the decision to leave the dead horse behind, which then means that a new technology needed to be chosen for the support organization. So in summer 2017, they entered a full RFP process with vendor selection, shortlisting, different discussions, going to October with the final selection. Decision was done on ServiceNow for the technology, and then Fujitsu Symphony as the implementation partner. Contract was signed December 2017, very latest days there. I think it went to the last day almost. And then the kickoff was on the January 10th, and the theme of the whole project was served to be, or decided to be Le Mans. So Le Mans embodied a 24-hour endurance race of cars, and relating this project to that high performance endurance race with high performing cars and the different high performing individuals was something that really struck in with Bassware. So the project was called CS Engine with ServiceNow, and all of the themes were searched or selected in the Le Mans fashion, Le Mans 24-hour race fashion. Bassware later explained why they chose ServiceNow and why they chose Symphony to be the partner. So one key decision maker was that Bassware people really liked the solution. It was simple to use, as you saw in Chris's demo as well. There's a lot of nice features and functionality around the usability. It's very intuitive. So Bassware people really like the solution. Bassware spent a lot of time talking to different customers, to different implementation references, and listened to CIOs in conferences who said that, we are using ServiceNow, we like it, yeah, they took the recommendation of their peers as one key decision-making factor. The references for ServiceNow and Symphony, or Fujitsu Symphony in UK and Finland, were convincing. We had several different reference meetings, and actually one of the customers that Bassware met during this process was Epicor, which Chris presented a couple of slides back. CSM as a business unit is still the strongest business unit of ServiceNow. So ServiceNow's history is fairly dominant in the IT service management space, and customer service management is one of the fastest growing business units of ServiceNow. So that was something that Bassware took to heart and listened, kind of made a decision based on that. So if that business is growing, it might be a good bet to also jump on that ship. And then one final fact which was very appealing was that it is a cloud-based solution. So there is no different legacy, there is no on-premise history of the solution. It is developed to the cloud. It actually has the same embodiments or same elements that Bassware is aspiring to, moving from premise to more of a cloud-based reality. ServiceNow is there already. So it has been developed in the cloud, born in the cloud, so there's no legacy thing to worry about. But of course, it cannot all be good. So some of the negative sides with ServiceNow, one being the license model. There is no floating license. That is good to be said. So that is a change for some of the organization, at least for Bassware. It was something that we discussed very many times around. So ServiceNow's licensing model is unique. It's user-based as a modern SaaS service. So that is something that customers need to learn away from if they are moving on top of ServiceNow. This is how it looked like on a Monday in June 18th. On the top left-hand corner, we had a joint video session all over the globe launching the new customer service portal of Bassware. Afterwards, we also had very many cakes in different entities around the globe as well. But we actually came together, made a nice show. It's all in YouTube actually. We can share the links afterwards on when we launched, Bassware launched the solution to their end customers. It was a very nice event. Warm memories about that. Let's have a look at what it actually looks like today. So as you actually saw in Chris's presentation, the portal is pretty aligned to out of the box. Logos, colorings, a bit of the content has been changed during the implementation, but it has still heavy reliance or heavy resemblance to the out of the box version. Oops, sorry, misclick. Finding answers, similar functionality that Chris just showed with the type ahead query and the knowledge base, search functionalities, case creation. So when in Chris's demo, Julie was creating a case, this is what it looks like in Bassware's situation. So you can select the category, select the business service, and describe your case. The updates on a list view or on the right-hand side on a more timeline view. So what has been discussed, what was the answer, what was the question, and case details on the right-hand side all the time as a reminder. When we go to the backend, so customers serving Bassware's end customers, this is what the support manager's dashboard looks like. This is a software solution called ServiceNow Performance Analytics. It's actually one of the key components in Chris's demo with the issue there. But this is the performance analytics dashboard that Bassware support managers are looking at, with average CSATs, with elapsed times to case resolution, cases resolved in past 24 hours, and elapsed time to first customer message. So very much focus on the speed once again. And the performance analytics dashboards are changeable, so you can actually change it to your needs as well if needed. Backlog analysis. So looking at the tickets that the backlog is not growing too much. So we are actually answering all the tickets, so no ticket is left behind. And yeah, that was pretty much the screenshots. How did Bassware people like the solution? They did a short survey on that as well, with 4 questions that now have been risen to this presentation. So 2 weeks after go live, online poll for support people. The solution was pretty well advanced at that point, so people had been using it. Large majority of 90% said that yes, they have worked in the ServiceNow platform. They rated the performance of the solution to being much better or really fast compared to the old solution, and the usability was much better or little better by almost 80%, and the overall functionality compared to the previous solution, same spread, much better and little better almost by 80%, dominating the answers. Of course, when it's a customer service tool, it's important to know what the customers liked it. So on a scale of 0 to 6, customers have steadily been giving it over 5. There's one small drop here and there, but it is a good improvement based on the old technology due to the fact that it's much more usable, it has an online presence, and yeah, that's pretty much it. A few value topics that were realized or gained 4 months after the launch. So case volume went down 20%. There are several reasons, of course, for that, but one of the main reasons is that there is a knowledge base now. You can actually have a community and look at the solutions and not just push in an email ticket. So that is why case volume is down. Staff training, this was, I think, the biggest one for myself at least. So staff training is down from 2 days to 4 hours. So ServiceNow is an intuitive solution. It's very easy to use. It is a single source of truth. So once you get accustomed to it, once you get trained to it, it's actually you're good to go. So they were able to train staff within 4 hours from the old 2 days. So that's a huge improvement. The bottom row, average response time went down from 4 hours to 55 minutes. Once again, focus on the speed. There are also technology benefits here, but I think the majority of that came from the good work of the structuring of the organization and rethinking the customer service processes. Resolution time went from 40 hours to 26 hours. Once again, focus on the speed. And then I think the biggest number on the bottom right corner, manual mail processing reduced by 94. So we talk a lot about in customer service about killing the email channel. So talking about omni-channel, but raising the portal and the chats with artificial intelligence. Bassware actually made good of that promise, and they were able to drop down 94% on manual mail processing. So one of the reasons is that ServiceNow actually has a mailbox in it. When you send an email to that ServiceNow instance, it automatically creates a ticket based on that mail, and then the service technician can then start working on the ticket alone. It's intuitive stuff. I'm not the best person to comment on what's next for Bassware. This is what their plans were at the end of the year. So looking at the global chat function, operating it on a 24/7 basis, there is chat functionality in ServiceNow, customer service management, and nowadays also with AI or artificial intelligence capabilities. So extending that to a global reach is something that they're planning. Cost metrics or effort and cost metrics. It's of course nice and dandy that we do good service and our customers are happy, but are we doing that service with the lowest effort or with the cost benefit ratio that is relevant to our company? So starting to measure, looking at the effort, looking at the costs is something that is phase 2 for Bassware. Customer online reporting, looking to have customers look at their own solutions, create their own online reports, and have a dashboard of them seeing their own service health within the customer support portal. And that is a big step for Bassware as well. And that would then include some of the item capabilities of ServiceNow, which are also native to the platform. The bottom row, so increased automation. ServiceNow has a lot of capabilities when it comes to either process automation or technical automation. So looking into those and just creating more speed and accuracy inside the support organization. System status, reporting on different customer system statuses to their own portals, pretty much linking to the reporting side, and taking ServiceNow beyond support. So if you know ServiceNow to the details, so ServiceNow is a big platform with a lot of functionality, customer service management being one. And there are also other solutions which help the different internal functions of organizations, for example, HR, finance, legal, facility management, etc., etc. So taking ServiceNow, the whole platform beyond just customer service function. And with that said, that was the last slide. So I want to thank you on my behalf and on Chris's behalf. And I think, Emily, now it's time to move into questions. Do we have any?
Yes, we do. So we have a question for you, Chris. Can Jason also search for existing incidents in the agent workspace?
Yes, he can. So in the agent intelligence section there, moving forward, the search also will do cases and possibly as well as incidents in there. So as an example, if you have a case about a router, which is high priority, agent intelligence can in fact give you a list of anything which might be related. So any other issues with that same router, any major incidents or major cases which might be raised for that router, and you can easily relate them within there. That specific capability about relating and that kind of level of search is coming in Madrid. It is available to an extent in London, but it does get more powerful in Madrid, which is being released in this quarter.
Thank you, Chris.
Yep.
Another question is, what types of industries would CSM be most useful for, perhaps more than others?
Yep. So this is an interesting one as well. So what we found is that about 60% of the target addressable market for CSM is within high tech industries where there's high complexity, telcos, which kind of almost goes hand in hand with high tech in many ways, as well as high regulation sort of industries. So finance and banking could be a good use case for it. And the main reason all of those three are good for us as well is because they are highly complex. What ServiceNow is very good at doing is kind of taking that complexity and putting a structure around it, which you can then use. So for the cases of telcos, you have a customer base which uses a number of services and products from you. If you're able to kind of monitor all of that on one side, it's much easier for you to deliver services to your customers and understand what impact there is of outages. It's the same in the high-tech industry. If you're dealing with high complexity products, that's where the value of ServiceNow really comes through. Industries where it's kind of a one and done, my hat doesn't fit me properly, send me a new one. Well, it's not to say that ServiceNow can't help you in those areas, but it does become a bit less compelling in terms of the price point because they are simpler transactions. So in summary, basically anything with high complexity is kind of what we do well.
Thank you. I think we have time for one last question.
Emily, I'd like to add into Chris's point. So
yeah.
You're spot on, right, when it comes to let's say the sweet spot industry. But as an implementer, Fujitsu also has customers within manufacturing and retail who use ServiceNow as their customer service tool. And the benefits that Chris mentioned are not that big in those cases, but I think one of the biggest ones is actually it's kind of an enterprise service management story. So connecting the R&D functions or the logistics or the warehouse people towards a customer case. So building up awareness, having a single pane of glass for all of these cases. So there are very many use cases in different industries as well, but Chris's answer was on where the sweet spot is.
Thank you. Yeah, we can take one more question, and for the rest, you will receive an email from us answering your questions after the webinar is finished. How has the customer feedback been on the chatbot?
So the virtual agent, which you should, is pretty much brand new in London. So at the moment, the uptake of it. There is uptake, but the implementation time, seeing as it's only been released for the last 2 or 3 months, hasn't really let us, track and monitor the effectiveness of it so far. Hopefully, in the next few months, we'll have more stats around that. But unfortunately, at this point, we can't really say how effective it is in any sort of hard numbers, simply because it's so new.
Thank you. This was all we had for you today. We hope you found this session useful. As already said in the beginning, you will receive an email with the link to the presentation and recording. If you want to get in touch with us regarding customer service management in ServiceNow, please feel free to contact us. We frequently host webinars related to the ServiceNow platform. Make sure you follow us on LinkedIn to get the updates or visit our website where you can sign up for our newsletter. I will end this webinar by wishing you a great day. Thank you all.
Perfect.